Hello everyone and welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. This is Colin and today we're going to do a playthrough of Secrets of the Lost Station. Dun dun dun. So this game is the second series. Epic Games came out with Secrets of the Lost Tomb. I actually had that game. I loved it, but I ended up selling it because, well, it was just so big and I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to play it. Well, this one's just as big, if not bigger. This scenario booklet only has 100 scenarios in it. Yes, that's right, 100. We're going to do scenario 4. So it is a campaign style game. You aren't going to be leveling up characters, so to speak. You're going to be unlocking abilities, and then every time you play, you can play with new abilities, but you always start back over from the beginning of your characters. So it's kind of a cool way of giving you a little bit of that campaign feel, but also not being where, okay, I'm stuck with this character for 100 scenarios. You can choose different ones as you play. So I will say that this will spoil the fourth scenario for you if you're playing that. If that's going to be a problem, please don't watch this. But if you're interested in the game, I feel like I haven't played the fourth scenario, but I've heard it's a really good one. And I've played the first 3, and I think this one will be a good show to you of how the game plays. So that's why I want to do this one. And hopefully that's the case. We'll find out when we play it. So what we're going to do here is we'll set up the game in this video, and then we'll go ahead and jump into the playthrough in the next one. Let's do it. To show you the epicness of this game, this shows you all the different scenarios you have in the game. There's 92 of them. There's different areas that come in different expansions, so to speak, but if you buy the game, you'll actually, well, from what I understand, you'll get all of these in the base box. That's what we got as Kickstarter backers. So we're going to do scenario 4, Engineered. For your setup, you'll want to look at the scenario and see what you need to pull out. So you can see here we have to play with Nakatomi as one of our explorers. So I'm going to play with him along with 3 others. So I'm going to play, this is going to be a 4-character game. That's because if you play with less than 4, you have to do some adjustments. And so I want you to see what the game's like playing with 4. I don't think it's hard to control 4 characters, and you'll see. Each character will get to choose one item, which is pretty cool. So we'll each start with one item. We do have to pull out the stim pack and the adrenaline item because those will come into play specifically during the scenario. And then we have right now unlocked 2 different station systems that we can use. And so I'm going to choose one of those. And then you have to find the matching tile that you can use to actually activate that station's system. And when you pull that out or you find that, then you can go to that location and actually use that system. Next, you want to go ahead and grab your scenario-specific creatures. The only one we have for this scenario is grunts, so we're going to have 5 of them, and I'm going to pull out their monster card. The rest of the monster cards that are unlocked, except for bosses, you'll go ahead and shuffle up, and they're going to be your random enemies that may come out during the game. We see here our scenario layout, so we have to place the following tiles in a straight line from left to right. We've got Icarus, which is that ship tile we saw at the beginning. Our docking station, and that's where we're going to start with. Our storage bay, now I need to place 3 search tokens, and you'll see while we play the game, you can, as a free action, search, and then you'll resolve a search action there. So I'm going to place those there. We can search there up to 3 times, which is nice. We have the security chamber, followed by the holding cell. We'll place 3 search tokens there, and we're going to spawn 2 random creatures, which we'll do in a second. Then we have the detention block. We're going to spawn 1 random creature, and then these final 3 tiles. Now, there is an FAQ already started on BGG, and I was fortunate enough to find one that stated that this, although it says set aside, is not true. We need to place the hangar bay and the communications tiles in the top 15 of our tile stack. That's very important because otherwise they'll never come into play. The final section in our scenario book is our scenario events. So here we have our station track, and it's going to notate all the different triggers that we have during the game. So what's going to happen is at the end of each player's turn, we're going to reveal one of these tokens, and a certain effect is going to happen. So all of the ones that are face down on this board, those are random ones. And so what we did is we grabbed 4 random station events, 3 random explore events, and 9 blank events. And then we'll mess them up, and then we'll place them on the station event track, like so, with the scenario-specific events and the combat events out. Those are already out on the board. So you can plan, you know that enemies are going to be attacking and moving when you have the combat ones, and then you'll know that there's a certain scenario effect. We don't know what it is, but there'll be a scenario effect when we have someone's turn end and we have we'll flip one of these tokens. Next, let's go ahead and set up our characters. So we're going to start with Nakatomi. So we have a bunch of different things on this board. This is a player board that we're going to use. You're going to see that each of our characters have a one-time special ability. His is Reboot. Once per game, spend an action to replace a cybermorph creature with a cybermorph companion under your control. Damage remains. Kind of cool, then you can control it. Over here, it gives you different stats for strength, dexterity, mythos, your combat, your movement. I think that's knowledge is what it's called. That's for healing people, including yourself, which is pretty nice. Out on the outside parts of this player board, we have Audacity. Audacity can be used if you roll that symbol, you can turn it into a success by using an Audacity, and you turn all your Audacity symbols to successes if you do that. Power. So in this game, you can actually level up. You'll level up your abilities, which we'll see in a second. So power, you'll track this. When you get to 10 and you gain your 11th power, you'll go back to 1 and then level up. You have your courage here. Courage is used for powering up your abilities. A lot of times your abilities will have a non or an unfocused and a focused portion of your ability. If you are at 5 courage or higher, you're considered focused, and so then you'll get a better, your abilities will be focused, so better. Finally, here you have our stamina, and so he has 12 health. We also have his miniature, and we're going to place that into the docking station. Now, what's kind of cool about this game is if ever Nakatomi gets killed, essentially goes to 0, if no one can heal him, then what happens is he goes to his wounded side, and you'll see his stats are affected. He only has 6 health. He has 4 Audacity, though. That's kind of cool. And so then he has 1 ability that he can use if he hasn't used his other one. And then if he goes to no health remaining, then we all lose the game. So if ever a character is eliminated, we're done. Something that adds a ton of character to this game is that each character has their own booklet of all these different stories that as you're playing, when you have those explore events, you'll actually read through these, and it helps you understand the background of your character. Your ship was being chased by these enemies, and it's partially broken down. You dock at this station, and there's Darwin there, who is essentially an AI system, and he takes control of you and starts asks you to help control or save his lost station. And if you save his lost station, he'll help save your ship, Icarus, so you can escape. But when doing that, then you start having some memories from your past and other people's past, from how I understand it. Anyways, this is really cool. We probably won't read from this because I don't want to spoil that, but I just wanted to show you that you're going to have that for each of your characters. Finally, we have Nakatomi's 2 abilities. Now, not everyone has 2 yet. As you're playing through the campaign, you'll unlock more. You'll see that a couple of the characters have 2, and a couple of them have 1. So Nakatomi's level 1 is Adrenaline Surge. So right now, because his courage is 1, he's unfocused, so his strength is based, is its regular base, which is 2. But if he becomes focused, then it gets +1. Same thing with his combat. Now, if ever he gets a total of 11 power, he can flip one of these to the level 2 side, which is kind of cool. And then you have different benefits as well. So you can see this is a +1, and then if you pass any check, he gets +2 courage. This one, if he's focused, it's +2, and if he passes any check, he gets +2 courage. What's important to note here is as you play the campaign, if ever you obtain another combat ability, you can only ever have 1 of those. We all start with 1 item, so the 1 item he's going to play with, because I thought it was pretty thematic for him, he's essentially a hacker. We have our Sonic Grenade. Used prior to combat. Dexterity check 2, you have to get 2 successes to pass. If you do, remove a token and a creature is stunned and cannot deal damage this combat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place 2 generic tokens on here to denote that we have 2 uses of this. After we use it 1 time, I'll remove 1, and when we use it a 2nd time, I'll remove the other. Next, we have Balthazar. So he has an ability that once per game, for 1 turn, you can spend stamina to gain bonus to checks. Gain 1 die for each stamina spent. So if I spent 3 stamina, I can roll 3 more dice. The big thing is his combat is 4, and look at his courage is almost at 5 already. Once he gets to 5, he can power up his ability. I don't know much about him yet. He is a lizard brain, what it says here. So if he's unfocused, he uses his base combat, but once we get him focused, which shouldn't be too hard, he will have +1 to his combat. And he's going to go ahead and use the plasma blade, as his item. Now I'm putting it here, but you don't put it in this location on your board. This is for abilities only. I'm just doing that so you can see it. So this says add 1 die during combat. So you can add an additional die. So he'll be actually rolling 5 dice, you guys, to start with. Or you can use as an action, discard this to deal 3 damage to a target. Here we have Jack Holden. He'll start with 4 Audacity, which is amazing. And the big thing is his Mythos is 4, which is great. Great way for him to gain additional Audacity if he needs it. He's got Courage only of 2. He starts at power level 1. He has Survivor as his ability. Once per turn, prior to performing a check, combine an additional attribute to build your dice pool. So he could add his Mythos to something else. Let's say his Combat. All of a sudden he's rolling 7 dice. Jack has 2 level 1 abilities right now. He has Muscle Memory, so right now his combat is base, whatever it is, which is 3, but he can get +1, and the same thing with his Strength. He will also have the Plasma Blade, so he'll roll 1 additional die. Finally, we have Phoenix. She will have 2 Audacity. She starts with 3 Courage, 12 Health, power levels 1. Her ability is Divine Inspiration. Once per game, prior to performing a check, choose any 1 attribute to use. So we could use our knowledge to roll 4 maybe instead of only doing 2 for Mythos. She also has an ability called Crimson Fist, which will give her +1 to her combat if she can get herself focused. And then her item that she's going to start with is this Portable Turret. During combat, target a creature and roll 4 dice. Deal however many successes as damage. But if you roll a critical failure, you have to discard this. So it's a little chancy, but it doesn't take an action to use this, so this can be fun. And I really felt like it was thematic with, if you look at what she's carrying, I feel like that's what she's carrying, is a portable turret. Here we have our station board. So right now we only have 1 station card that we can choose, and we chose the drone card, which we'll look at with you in a second. We also have our scenario guide. This is telling us what our objectives are, which we'll read in a second, but it also tells us all the triggers that we have where we need to make sure to check our book and read some text and understand what's happening in the story. Here we have our station card. So we can see here you can spend an action in the drone control room and choose A for exterior or B for interior. So far, I've only seen interior because we haven't gone outside of the station yet, which is kind of cool because that's going to happen, I'm assuming. So let's just read the interior. You can use a drone token as an explorer. When destroyed, remove from the game. And that drone has 5 movement, 3 for its combat, and from how I understand it, that's automatic combat. You don't roll for that. That's 3 damage and a total of 6 health. So I'm going to take this tile and I'm going to shuffle that in to the top 15 tiles of the tile stack. And then when this is revealed, then we can go here and do those actions. We pull out our scenario-specific enemy. That's the grunt. We have the rest of our cards shuffled. These are different monsters or enemies. And this is the rest of our items shuffled up. And then these are just creature trackers. I really like how they did this. For Secrets of the Lost Tomb, you just had to have damage sit out on the board. But instead, let's say we have a grunt out. We'll put this here and we'll match the 1 to the grunt that is on the board. Because you can see these actually have numbers on them. That states that it's a 1. And so when it takes damage, we'll put the damage over here and then notate, okay, when it has 6 damage, it's been destroyed. It's cool. Well, I didn't realize just how long this scenario was going to be. Look at this. These are 9 tiles together. Our ship is all the way over here. I can't even get it in camera. But I've set this up. If I remember right, we've got to spawn some creatures. You can see we've placed our search tokens in the storage bay and in our holding cell. And a lot of these locations actually have actions that we can take. But when we get there, we'll get there. I'm not going to go through all of those now. We have to place 2 random creatures in the holding cell, which is here. And we have to place 1 random creature in the detention center. We'll flip the top 2 of our creature deck. So we have a quartermaster in that first room along with, let's see if I can flip this, along with the cyborg. Great. And then we have 1 in the detention block, which is Meredith. Well, I haven't played this one yet. And that one will be in the detention center. Now we'll set up our tile stack. I have all the tiles that we've unlocked so far. There's a base 30 and we've unlocked 1 additional tile, I believe. And then I've pulled out that drone control because that's the station that we picked, the hangar bay and the communications. From how I understand it, I'm going to take 12 additional ones of these, randomly shuffle them up with these 3, and then place them on top of here. So in the next 15 tiles, we'll see these 3. Our final part of setup is we're going to take care of the station track. I've got my 9 blanks, my 3 Explorer events, and my 4 station events. So I'm going to flip these face down and randomly place them out on the station track board. Here we have our station track board, so you can see at the end of each player's turn we'll reveal one of these. You can see the scenario-specific ones and the combat-specific tokens as well. You can see here the difficulty level is hard. I will be honest and say I have not won, except for the first scenario, I have not won any of them the first time going against it, because all of them so far have had a little bit of a trick or whatnot, and I have failed at that. But that's okay. We'll have fun losing. Game length is 90 minutes, so it's not going to be short. I hope that's okay, you guys. Let's have fun together. It's very narrative based, so I'm hoping you guys enjoy that. This tells us the start date. I don't quite know what that means. It's just telling us within the world when it's starting. Our summary is, just as you think you've gotten rid of the station of all the stowaways, a viral subroutine causes a new problem to deal with. Our objective here is to prevent the Red Rock Raiders from escaping. Okay, and then we have eliminate the virus. To win the game, we need to hack the virus and defeat 5 Red Rock Raiders. We lose if the Red Rock Raiders escape, and we lose if we fail to hack the virus by event track 30. So we do have a timer in this game. We have 30 turns. There are some special rules here. So the Red Rock Raiders, all grunts in this scenario are the Red Rock Raiders. Each time a raider is killed, gain 1 quest token. When the party has acquired 5 quest tokens, read 5 Red Rock Raiders defeated. We also have the Raiders movement. When Red Rock Raiders move, they always move towards the nearest unconnected open doorway. If they reach an unconnected doorway and have movement remaining, they explore a new room and trigger any unexplored room effects, just as an explorer would. Red Rock Raiders still stop and attack if they enter a room with an explorer. So it sounds like we're going to have to catch them. They're trying to run to something, I guess. Mission briefing. Those Starling pilots must have had a brain between them after all. They managed to plug a transfer device into a data hub terminal and upload a viral subroutine. It's causing all the detention blocks to flood the station with creatures that you just spent the better part of a day putting back in their cells. Even worse, this security breach has released the residents of a Supremax Cyro cell block. You'd better head to the communications to help Darwin eradicate the virus, but before the situation gets worse. Oh, and be sure to take care of the prison riot while you're at it. Now, I'm assuming that's the 3 enemies that we just put out. That's the setup of Secrets of the Lost Station. I'm assuming these are the prisoners that have broken free, so I think what we're going to need to do is get ourselves over there so we can fight them and hopefully kill them before those Red Rock Raiders start showing up. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you at the next stop.